Let's pray together. Divine Mother,
Divine Mother,
Heavenly Father,
Heavenly Father,
Friend beloved God,
Friend beloved God,
Jesus Christ,
Jesus Christ,
Babaji Krishna,
Babaji Krishna,
Lahiri Mahashai,
Lahiri Mahashai,
Swami Shri Yukteswar,
Swami Shri Yukteswar,
beloved Guru,
beloved Guru,
Paramhansa Yogananda,
Paramhansa Yogananda,
saints of all religions,
saints of all religions,
we bow before you all.
we bow before you all.
Divine Mother,
Divine Mother,
be with us now,
be with us now,
just where we are.
just where we are.
Help us to know your presence
Help us to know your presence,
and to feel your wisdom and love,
and to feel your wisdom and love,
that we might give that to all.
that we might give that to all.
Peace. Amen. I want to welcome you to our class, Infusing Daily Life with God's Presence. And we'll start with a chant and a very brief meditation. This chant is rest in God, live in God, in His light, love, and joy. Some of the aspects of God we have on the whiteboard today. So in 3 aspects of God, and those are the verses: light, love, and joy. Let's sit up. Straight spine, relaxed shoulders, relaxed posture, but dynamic. Follow the breath as it goes in and out. Release any tension. Release the thought of the past or the future. Follow the breath or any meditation technique you know in the now. And if you wish, think of one of God's aspects: love, light, joy, true bliss, and rest as we meditate. Focusing at the point between the eyebrows and offering up. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all, and thank you all in Los Angeles for making us feel welcome here, and just this opportunity to be together. I'm here with my husband Palika. My name is Krishna, Nayaswami Krishna, and we're both from Ananda village, and we've been living there for about 14 years, and before that Ananda Palo Alto for 12 years, and so we've been here with Ananda for a long time, and everywhere we go, all of these years, including now, there's that thread of connection with all people who just come here, if you're new or if you've been here a long time. We're all in the same wavelength, and it just really feels, and we just had the dedication in Ananda village in the Moksha Mandir for Swami Kriyananda, who passed last year. And again, we felt that it's a very powerful thing that's happening right now at Ananda, I think, with that his recent passing, is that it's becoming a more pervasive energy than it ever has been before to bring us together. This talk, the name of this class, Infusing Daily Life with God's Presence, is a talk by Swami Kriyananda. He's talked on the subject in many times in many places, but this particular talk we're going to focus on today. We'll hear a little bit of it in a minute, but in here he kind of brings it to a close. This is toward the end, and he's talking about to absorb the presence of God. He said, and we're going to do tips and tools a little later, so this is one of his suggestions. Be in the presence of devotees. Be where devotees chant and sing. This is the most important thing that devotees can do. And the greatest work you can do in your life is to come to such places and mix with such people. Isn't that interesting? And it's, getting back to magnetism. We're going to be talking about magnetism today. And this subject, really, infusing God's presence in daily life, it's already happening. We think we need to do something, which we do. We need to meet God halfway, like chanting is half the battle, and you need to come your way on the path. But it is so dynamic and happening all the time. God's presence is always there, and the last thing on the board, I thought this was one of the ones that really just popped out for me in this particular subject of this talk. He says that in the desire to find God, the saints or the great ones don't give it to you. You take it. We take it. And so it's there all the time. It's being offered all the time. Light, love, all of the aspects of God. And what we do is we take it. We reach out, all of us have, in different ways. And like Narayan's prayer, give me a book. And the book comes at just the right time. And then you just take your next step, and just one step at a time. And another key, we'll talk more about patience in a little bit. That's one of the things he calls out as one of the main points of trying to be in God's presence is patience. Because if you're impatient or restless, we're forgetting kind of what we're really needing to focus on, which is calmness. The opposite of that. We're going to talk about the aspects of God too. So we just really want to bring it to the center, and that's why this place is so important as a gathering place, because that's what we focus on here. We focus on meditation, yoga, all of the practices that can help us be inside, and that is the secret of finding God's presence, is to be silent enough in the center, receptive enough. We hear it, we hear the little whispers on daily life of like, do this, don't do that. Or, and how many times, I've done it many times, just a little thing even, you're thinking you need to remember something, and then a little voice comes in and you go on to something else. So you're just kind of, and that is what the kind of the crux of the whole thing is either, they say, you're either thinking of God or you're not. But a little softer way of putting that is that you're either remembering God or you're forgetting. That's, it's just kind of always, that's the duality. I have duality written on the board there between all the aspects of God. It's always mixed in there. And so it's just like it's like a thread that, that's what we signed up for this. This is Maya, this is duality. And so we can enjoy the ride or we can resist the ride, with all that we have. Oh, this isn't what I want. And that, ties into our desires and such, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But those are kind of the main things with this God remembrance. And then the other thing, I was talking to, someone about the, Catholicism being so strong, or another religion, any kind of path that is more a little bit, focused and narrow on the negative part sometimes, the guilt of, the confession. And in Palo Alto, we bought that church. We bought a Catholic church right across from Stanford. I was involved in this when I was back in Palo Alto in the early 1990s. And so this church came up, and interestingly, Swami drove by this church years before we got it and said, that looks good, or something like that. He just mentioned to Asha and David, who are the spiritual directors there, this one could be it. And nobody thought anything of it, It was huge. It's a huge church. It seats 300 people, and we were in an office building not too bigger than this, at that time. And it was right down the street, though. So anyway, we got the opportunity to get this place, and we all just were so happy, that it was so suited. In one way, everything was there, even the place to put the altar cloths. Is in the minister's room. There's a whole wall of drawers kind of thing, and a safe. With the money. And the poor guys we asked to take that safe away, they had to take it away. We didn't need the safe. And we use it for a closet, But anyway, so speaking of closets, in the back of the church are those confessionals, and of course the church is brown. The pews are brown, and the carpet is, way too old and brown too. But anyway, so they all had that vibration, but the confessionals, like, that energy of people going in there year after, the years they had it. They consolidated, by the way. That was a happy ending for them. They were going on to a new church. For them, and we got it. But, the energy there was just so heavy. And that's that yuga. That's the age of, the darkness. And then this is Dwapara, the age of the light. And so when we moved there, we're just going, that was a couple of years that those confessionals were still there. And every time you go by, it just feels a little creepy, we put the pillows in there. That's where we put the blankets. But that was all we did with them. But we said the day that we got to, take the confessionals down, it was so liberating. It was just too liberating. And then they painted the walls white, and around you can imagine how big it is with 300 people and then a balcony. And then in light, etched in, with lights coming through, etched in plexiglass, it has sayings from the poem Samadhi there. And I want to bring that out to you, as this is a handout at the end. I'll give everybody the poem Samadhi, because with this topic, Infusing Daily Life with God's Presence, Yogananda wrote this poem about, this is what liberation is. This is it. It's the roadmap, what liberation, what true freedom, the state of Samadhi is freedom in God. That's infusing your daily life with God's presence. And he said, memorize this. Memorize it. And have it in your consciousness. Back in Palo Alto also, I started a Samadhi club. And so what I did was I put these big on the computer, and then I cut them up, and then every day, every week, you got, vanished the veils of light and shade, lifted every vapor of sorrow, sailed away all dawns of fleeting joy, gone the dim sensory mirage. So that was a week. And then the next week you got another couple of phrases. And so we helped, we just all did it kind of together to memorize the poem Samadhi. So this is kind of the end of the, of our topic today, but I want you to take that home. And So you'll have that. But at that church, it's got that beautiful, the white and the blue and everything is just open and the masters are there. And they have niches now. I haven't seen it, but they have niches to all the world religions. They wanted to dedicate it to that. So that's kind of what Ananda is about, is bringing a light vibration into meditation, a meditation technique of many, many years. I came with one. I had been in Zen for 10 years, Vedanta for 8. And I was actually at La Crescenta. I was stationed there in the monastery there. And I knew something was going to happen. I love being there. I woke up in the morning and picked like 70 or more flowers to worship with every day. But I knew something was trying to happen. I thought, there's nobody new coming here. This is a place that's established and, just beautiful in the Spirit of God. But I knew something was trying to happen, and then it did. I went to the Palo Alto Church, and that, like you guys, that was it. You just feel uplifted. So that's what what Ananda is lifting up from wherever you are, and not that anything's bad or wrong. There are saints in every religion that there is, and good people, and just people trying to be spiritual. But it lifts from where we are to the next step. Like a little bit of this, like you were saying, a little bit, one thing and then another thing. And then you realize that, you see, and then here's the thing with the forgetfulness and the remembering. Samadhi it's called, smriti means memory. So all we're doing in this whole quest for knowledge, for wisdom, love, joy, sound, light, peace, and calmness, and God's presence, is to remember it. Every single one of us is perfect. Every single one of us is in that perfect divine spirit, calling it whatever we call it. In the Vedanta, has on every altar in Sanskrit, it says, truth is one, men call it by many names. And so with Ananda, Swami Kriyananda has perfectly continued the ancient teachings of India, from his guru, Paramahansa Yogananda, to us right here, where we have our cell phones and we go to work or we go to school, and we're constantly moving. But all these techniques are especially made for that. Isn't that interesting? In Kali Yuga, in the Dark Ages, they practiced them, and it brought them up. We're practicing the same techniques, nothing different. We're trying to do our best to do it as it's taught to us, so we can really, really just uplift with it. But it's gone on, and then this is now. So it's eternal. This is eternal. These are just learning the first technique that we teach here is Hum Sa, just a mantra. It's just a mantra, but it is said that by that mantra, you could find God. It had nothing else. Energization is the other one. These are kind of what the tips and tools here is energization. Yogananda was asked, if you could only pick one technique, which one would you pick? Energization. He said, because you tense with will, relax and feel. If you can we have to have our will, we have to, put our will into all of these things and then relax and feel. For instance, calmness and peace. To get calm, we tense with will, relax and feel, meditate. And then you feel calmer. Then the next step is peace. Then you really can be going into the next one. It's kind of a progression there. And then coming with the last one, joy. Joy is bliss. It's leading to bliss. And joy can be in anything we do. We can do, as I said, we have two choices. You can remember God's presence, and that's what we want, and going for the joy, or we can forget God's presence and we can resist or simply be sort of not thinking of what we need to do, in the next phase of our development. And I think this is a good time to play what Swamiji has to say. I'm going to just do a little bit of this talk so you get a feel for what he has to say on infusing daily life with God's presence. So David has a nice digital form of this. We love MP3s.
Does he want just the beginning part also? And
I think it's a little too long if we do, well,
should I just go to the first to that?
to that, yeah, 5 minutes, good, yeah. And it doesn't matter if it's a little bit, it's not perfect on the sentence. I meant to make a clip of that, since this is what I do with the Talk of the Month Club back at home. I just didn't have time. Okay, there we go. And you can just close your eyes if you'd like to. And you don't have to close your eyes, though. I think it's funny part of this.
I've been working on.
All right, that's okay. And while she's doing that, is the Treasures Along the Path is the ministry that I work with at Ananda Village, and we offer these talks by Swami. We're slowly getting them from the archives and remastering them. So.
Expected. How many times you have seen in your life that you really thought that you had something together at last, and then a test came and you blew it completely? we don't. This is the defect of too much of modern psychiatry, that it tries to make you understand a thing only intellectually. But you don't understand when you understand here. You understand when you understand here. When your life is changed inwardly, then you find that every day, every test that comes, you react in the right way. But it isn't resolution alone that helps, of course. It isn't affirmation, although that helps too. But it's that deep-seated change that is something often independent of your conscious will that determines who you really are. You are a little island above the ocean with a vast body of earth beneath it. And you have to learn how to bring that divine consciousness down into that deeper body of subconscious, which determines your natural response to all situations. This you can't do in a day. As Master said when he wrote about cosmic consciousness, he said of the experience of samadhi that it doesn't come with mere intellectual willingness or open-mindedness. It comes by daily practice of meditation, Kriya Yoga, devotion, daily practice which gradually brings this down into the subconsciousness, and this takes time. No tree can suddenly pop out of the ground and become a great oak tree. It takes time. It's a day-by-day thing. This is why Lahiri Mahashai gave that saying, Banata Banata Banjai. Trying little by little every day, suddenly there, the divine bliss, the victory. And so, every day, if you do the right thing, you will find that it may take a lifetime, it may take many lifetimes. Don't worry how long it takes. If you, in fact, patience, as somebody was saying the other day, and I endorsed her saying, because patience, she was talking of the need for patience, and I said patience is the shortest path to God. When you have learned patience, there's that wonderful story of Saint Chaitanya, one of the great saints of India, who, in a certain mood that came over him, was telling his disciples who asked when he would find God. And each disciple, he would say, he would find God, not Chaitanya who had found God, but the disciple. He said, you will find him in this life, and he felt very good. Or he'd tell another disciple, it'll take 2 or 3 lives, and the disciple felt a bit crestfallen. And then there was one disciple who was very close to him, a very highly advanced disciple, and he said, Master, when will I find God? He said, it'll take you another 1,000,000 lives. Everybody gasped, first of all, because they felt so highly of this disciple. Secondly, because, my God, what a burden. It was hard enough for some of them to think 2 or 3 lives, and here, 1,000,000 lives. And then others hardly dared ask for fear of getting a similar answer. But things went on in the satsang, and then they turned around and they didn't see this disciple, and they thought, well, he's probably out there weeping. And they looked out through the door, and there he was, dancing in ecstasy. And they said, but didn't you hear what the Master said? Yes, my brothers, dance with me in joy. Didn't you hear him promise I would find God? What does it matter a few million lives, 1 million lives? It doesn't matter. But he promised I would find God. And they were aghast. And then the master called him in. He said, come here. He said, I just wanted people to see of what metal a true devotee is made. And he touched him and he realized God in that moment. Patience is the shortest path to God. Why? Because God is not in the future. God is in the eternal present. And we can only find Him when we live in that eternal present. And we can never live in that eternal present if we're impatient. Because impatient means we're wanting something that hasn't come yet. Master said, I get tired of people saying, when will I find God? Say, I have Him. Because He is with you right now. And if you live in that thought that He's always with you, you will find all of a sudden, there He is. You have to live with joy. You have to live with love. There's that lovely story Master told about God in heaven. Just a story, obviously. God in heaven sending Narada down to earth to find who the real devotees were. And Narada came down and he met many devotees and he wrote down all the names of these great devotees. And then finally he came upon an old man. He was 85 years old. And he said, oh, you've been meditating a long time. Yeah, I've been meditating at 65 years. And he said, well, this is great, 65 years of sadhana. He wasn't thinking wisely at 65 years, what's that in eternity? But he said, oh, well, I'm here from heaven and I've brought a message, I brought a mission from God to try to find all the devotees in this world. Oh, you have you? Then why ask your Lord when you go back why He hasn't come to me? Well, Narada was a bit shocked at this one. And he said, I've been meditating for 65 years and still He hasn't come. And Narada thought, that really isn't very kind of God. And he went on, he wrote this man's name down at the top of the list. You know, this is a devotee. And then he saw a young man who was a little drunk. He'd been drinking a bit too much. And he was trying to put a post in the ground. He was making a fence. And he just couldn't quite hit that hole in the ground. And as he was waving around, he was cursing God, why don't you come and help me like this? And Nada was shocked. And he said, he thought, nobody speaks to God like this, blaming God for your own drunkenness and asking God to come when you're not even fit to go to the church and meditate and pray. And so anyway, he stopped because he was charged with the mission of speaking to everybody who called God's name. And so he stopped and talked to this man, although with a sinking heart. And the man said, oh, you're from heaven, are you? Well, then when you get back, for God's sake, please come. I keep calling him and he doesn't come. And Narada was scandalized that this man should presume that God would even think of coming to him. But anyway, he said, all right, I promised to tell him, so I will. So he went back and he read this long list of people, and then he came to this hoary old hermit and started talking about him, and God said, well, it's strange, I don't know him. Lord, I sometimes wonder about you. How come you don't know somebody who's been calling your name 65 years? His name is, and he repeated it, I'm sorry, I don't know his name. It's not written in my heart. And then he said at the very end of his long list, he started to talk about this drunkard. Oh yes, I remember, I know him. Lord, you know him? You don't know him? The Lord said, well, just go down and try something for me, you'll understand. He said, tell each of them that I will come, but only after I finish passing elephants through the eye of the needle. And so he went to the hermit, and he said that God will come, but only after he's finished his present job of passing a whole herd of elephants through the eye of a needle. And the hermit said, who ever heard of passing elephants through the eye of a needle? Goodbye, God, and all your crazy crowd. I've wasted 65 years. I'm going back to enjoy myself in the few years I have left. And Narada was very distressed to hear this. And then he went and he saw this young man who was a little drunker than ever and working on the second pole only. As soon as he saw Nada, he dropped his pole and ran over with open arms and embraced him. He said, tell me, my Lord, what has he said? And Nada said, well, he's busy right now with a job he's taken on of passing a herd of elephants through the eye of the needle. But as soon as he's finished, he'll come. And the young man said, oh, he who could pass worlds through the eye of a needle in an instant must be already ready to come. And he started dancing, and he took Nada by the hand and danced, and suddenly they found that God was dancing in their midst. And the story means that you don't find God this way. Many things that God does seem quite illogical, in fact. Starting with the question everybody asks, why did you make me? Why create this mess for me to be in? But you don't ever answer those questions this way. And if you live in your heart and love God, He doesn't mind your faults. All He minds is that you love Him enough.
That's two beautiful stories. I mean, and just so, we have to turn the mind in a different way. And a good phrase that people use a lot now is out of the box. You've got to think out of the box. Because when you try to add up your karma, what you've done, and just the law of cause and effect, thank you, is that, like Swami was saying, it can be just gargantuan. You can think, oh my God, karma, and Yogananda. When Swami asked Yogananda once, you mean, sir, we have to even, for karma, we have to even come back for another life if we want an ice cream, if we have a desire? Yogananda said, oh yes. And I mean, that can be quite depressing, because there's not only ice cream on the list, we've got a lot on the list, and you go, oh my God, I don't know, we just don't know how that can happen. But see, like these experiences out of the box, the hermit wanted to find God on his terms. He wanted to take. And see, that's the desire to find God. The saints don't give it to you. They have it. And we reach out to take it. The guy digging the hole. He had sincerity. Swami didn't use that word, but that's what it is. It's sincerity. It's an honest desire inside to know God. And the other part of that too is a little bit of a, like the razor's edge, because you want to know God, sure. What comes with it? What is going to be asked of us? How, and then a lot of other stuff out of the box starts to happen. In our lives, these examples come and you go, oh, I have to get bigger on that. Oh, I have to get bigger on that. More expansive, more, again, the remembrance of God's presence. And to be looking for it all the time. That's what's so joyous about having spiritual friends, is because it's so easy to look for it. Because that person wants it. You already know that our spiritual friends or even our co-workers who, have, they have qualities, or they express desire inside with we have a resonance with them. And you find something that is, a sympathetic vibration. So when we see that, we can, like Yogananda used to say, when you find something that works, puff on it. Puff on it so the fire gets bigger and bigger and bigger with that particular quality. So that you can, you can ride on the energy of one of the qualities of God. Calmness, sound, light, power, wisdom, love, joy. So you can either bring that out for that person, or you can, you can find more of it yourself. Be looking for it everywhere, and in all of the things in nature. And then even it's interesting with something Swami wrote recently. It's called the Festival of Light, and it's every Sunday. It's done, and it's an allegory. It's a story of a bird who's flying and trying to find freedom and is challenged. And then what it says in the festival too is that, of course, that bird is all of us, and all of us aspiring toward spirituality. And Swami recently, maybe a year ago, did he add the part at the end. And the part at the end, I don't have it to quote to you here at this moment, but the gist of it is that even the worst of sinners who have sinned most greatly are divine and will achieve divine liberation. And I saw this once because we can all, embrace more easily in our divine friends, in nature, the ocean, or whatever. But once I did a visit, a ministerial visit to San Quentin, and I had never been in a prison before, and that's a pretty big one to start with. And so you go in there. It was very interesting. It was such a just a dichotomy for me. I didn't understand it. I walked in there, when you first walk in the first station where you have to put the stuff in and get checked, I felt safe and protected, by the security. Interesting feeling. And then they brought us to the place where we would visit this person. And you walk along, they're in booths, closed. I guess it's probably bulletproof glass, I don't know, but it's a booth with glass. And the person is on the other side with a phone. And then you speak into the speaker and the phone. But I walked by these men in this prison, just sitting there. Some of them just absolutely just downcast and just absolutely filled with whatever, grief or anger or fear, all of the things that are the opposite, forgetfulness. All they were doing is forgetting who they were. There they were being punished and so on. But anyway, so I was looking at them, and I was really trying to feel what was, just feel this energy and give positive energy back. And what I was feeling was each one of them has a mother. Each one of them felt some kind of love or some kind of, even if they didn't have a good mother. They were brought here to learn and to progress, and there they were in that place. And it was an interesting experience. And then the friend we visited there, the person was, in a state of, real, just they couldn't understand things. And so that's what if you think of that as an allegory in the Festival of Light, Swami is writing, even those who have sinned most greatly are divine and will find their way back. And so, that's the whole of evolution. That's, finding God's presence has been going on ever since civilization went on. We're just trying to go back to and remember who we truly are inside. And what is our highest potential. And in one sense, it's not hard. We're led, all of us are really blessed because we've found these ways, but we didn't get here by happenstance. Nothing is a coincidence. It's built on our karma over time to come to a place like this and learn these teachings. And some of us will learn them and go on to another teaching. Some will learn them and stay with these teachings. And the people who don't have these teachings are constantly being brought to the light. That's Dwapara Yuga. It's said that we are finally in Dwapara Yuga, the age of light. And so the light is getting stronger and stronger and stronger, but wham, right? With the light getting stronger, you've got a whole bunch of darkness trying to still be prominent. Because we're coming from a dark age into a light one. And that's why all of us, frankly, feel thrown around. One thing happens after another. I'll tell you a funny story. Asha Praver from Palo Alto there, a long-time devotee like Ram, has been with Ananda for eons. She was back at the meditation retreat getting lunch ready for everybody. She was a cook back then. And so she said she was in the kitchen, and she had every cupboard open, every bowl and pot was out, and she was frantically running around, the kitchen trying to get everything ready. And she said she heard the voice of God. And he said, "What's your hurry, honey? It's one damn thing after another." Amen. And it's so great to hear Asha tell that story. imagine, there you go. It's just one thing after another. And then back to the aspects of God. We can deal with it, but, coming back to calmness, or we can, just be all caught up in it. All of us find ourselves in that state sometimes, just all caught up in it. But we must not forget that God's presence is with us always. We're never a failure. It's a sin to say we're a sinner. That's the sin. There's no bad. We did something, we tried, we made a mistake, and we made another mistake, and one thing after the other, and that's what we signed up for. We don't remember that we signed up. We said, I want it, and I'll take it. That's that, the bliss is there, God's presence is always there, but then we get, we just get a little curious about why, what's going on, why am I feeling so tested? And Swami said in his talk too, he said, and by the way, I want to be sure at the end we get the MP. Do you already have the email addresses of everybody here? Or should we just have them sign up after maybe? Let's sign up after so that I get them, take them back to my office, and everyone will get an MP3 of this talk. I want you to have this as a gift from Treasures Along the Path. I'll tell you what that is a little bit more later. But anyway, so it's the progression of one thing after the other, so that we can learn. We signed up to learn. Life as a school. We're here. We can enjoy it. It is. It's a joy. Just think of it. You've seen people come through heroic things. Just heroic things that you think, well, how could that person overcome that, or even yourself? How could I have even gone through that or done that, or a grief that's just so, just all consuming. Some people have had that in their lives, and we have to, just then later open up to the reality that it isn't part of us now. Where, the divine energy is going up in the spine. That's the meditation techniques we do here, are using the spine and the energy in the spine, rotating up to the point between the eyebrows. That is home. That's the only home we've got. Interesting, when I moved to the village, they asked us to move. We didn't want to move. Asked us to move. We moved. And so what I decided was, it was just sudden, it's like, I'm doing this, do that. So, okay, that's fine. Got there, and so what I decided to do is the house, really nice house. I was like, wow, we get a really nice house. So I gave it to my mother. Not mine. I don't live here. I'm staying here. I'm staying. And then we feel when we come here, to LA, I live here. I'm staying here now, I'm staying here. And that really helped me a lot, to just really feel that it's not mine, it's not, I don't, and Duty has that in her life. She's all over the globe. And she's here, she stays here. And she does music with you folks, And so what we're called, our karma is different. Everybody, and don't forget, it's tailor-made. The karma we've got, each one of us has it. And we also remember all it is energy in the spine. Ooh, there's a vritti. Something really serious happened with me at one point in time. It's like, I couldn't understand it, I couldn't go beyond it. And then met with Jyotish and Devi, and they said, okay, this is what's happening. And I said, that's a vritti. That's a vritti. That means a vritti means a focus of energy. It's going round and round and round and round and round. And so, like Swami said, in the patience with the path, is you can't expect it to change tomorrow. You have to know that it's going to be a process to change. And then with this difficult situation I had, I realized, well, okay, now we'll put some energy into that and make it go around and around and around, but then spiraling up is what we're called upon to do. So if you think of it, it's like the pinnacle. It's so blessed in that way. It's like, our home is in God. We're asking to be in the presence of the divine all the time with the techniques that show us. It's very clear. The techniques are all to unwind this karma. That's what the techniques are for. But then we go beyond the techniques. That's what's asked of us when we meditate, is after we do the techniques, sit still and just be. Just sit still and be in the vibration that you feel, and not to feel it should be, Swami mentioned this too, something else. I think, you get done with the meditations, I mean, frankly, some of us feel afterwards like oh my God. I mean, we've got one of the techniques, I shouldn't say this, but, hung saw is sometimes called hung snore. It's late at night, you've had a late night, and so, you get, your meditation seat, and I gotta do hunks, I have to do the techniques. But after the techniques, do them as dynamically as we can make it, and if one night it's hung snore, hey, we showed up, we did the techniques as best we could, and then at the end of techniques, to really just sit in the presence and in the consciousness that you have, that we have. It doesn't need to be something else. It doesn't need to be like somebody else we know has. It doesn't need to be different than what we hear. Sometimes you hear sounds, or sometimes you don't, and sometimes you feel calm, and sometimes you don't. You feel restless, after meditation. And Yogananda too, when he had his experience from Yukteswar, he said he'd had a restless meditation. An avatar had a restless meditation. His guru comes, says, "Come here," and touches him. Who's what are you talking about? He goes into samadhi. But then what? After that, Yukteswar said, "Let's go sweep the porch." It's like everyday life. It could happen any minute. We have to live like that, is to know that it is going to happen any minute. It might not even be in this lifetime, it might be another one. But it's going to happen to every single soul we know. It's going to happen in here. The energy of this, this body, mind and soul with God is evolving. It's going to go home when we leave this body. We're going to meet the highest, when we go on. It's said that we just see the best. That's what they say, when the, I can't remember the name of the book. It's the one where he goes on after life, and he has his life review, and he is there, and the review, he said, goes like a movie, like a surround movie. And so, he was focusing on the negative. And then after a time, he's, so you don't know what to look at, you're just going your life reviews over there, and you're seeing everything, and he was focusing on that, and Jesus was with him when he was doing this, and was devoted to Jesus, and so he said he didn't want Jesus to look at the bad parts, because he's looking at all this stuff, and ooh, that's not so good. And then he calls Jesus' attention to something else. He said, "Oh, so he's doing as a Boy Scout or something like that." And in the story, and the Savior, he's a Southern person. He said the Savior was amused. He was trying to, show, a little different point in the story, and that's like all of us, we're just trying to show the best, but to see that all of it exists simultaneously. The good and the bad and the, and the hard and the soft, it's all at the same time. It's all going on at the same time, and that's why these vrittis get so caught up, something comes to your heart. Like this recently, I was driving down Tylerfoot Road on the way to the village. I'm behind a car, we're going 55 miles an hour. There's a cat on the roof. Cat on the roof of the car. I mean, this is unusual, So there I see the cat on the car. The cat is, the sunroof was open. The cat's holding on to the sunroof like this. And the wind blew her off. Whoosh, through the wind, onto the berm, roll, roll, roll. She rolls up an embankment. Car's going 55, I'm laying on the horn, nothing. The car goes, so either they didn't know, they could have been high, they could have, I don't know, they could have thrown her out, I don't know. But it was, oh my God, and there was a pull-out, lucky me, pulled the car right over, stopped that car, got out of that car, okay, I can't believe what just happened to you. And I was just talking to the cat, I can't believe what just happened, because she ran over the embankment and she's over there, and I said, I just can't believe what's happening to you. I said, all I said was, here, kitty, kitty, here, kitty, kitty. And that cat came. Just right away. She saw me, and she just came up right away, and she had in her eyes, I mean, you can imagine a cat in that state, and she just had in her eyes, take me. It's like, okay. It's like, and she just like right up to my, I was down like this, and she came right like that, and then she just was kind of relaxing. She wasn't fighting, she wasn't afraid. And then there she was. She tried to get away a little bit when I was picking her up to putting her in the car, but then I had to like grab her leg so she wouldn't go away. No claws. She just like, and then she came, and then she went in the car, and then she sat in my lap, went home. We have a cat. What can I say? My husband Pollock is going, we can't have a cat. He said we have to find somebody who, wants the cat. So you can empathize with the story. Like, I'm like, somebody who wants the cat. And she, of course, like 5 people show up who want the cat because she's so loving, and as speaking with this, the love, unconditional love. She just wants love and wants to, give love. And so, after, long story short is that we decided to keep the cat. We couldn't keep the cat, but we're keeping the cat. And so that was such it's so unusual. And life throws things like that. A flying cat, that's and no injury to the cat whatsoever. Think of that. But then it's like those things. We have to know that there's God, that's God's presence working through a situation right there, And also, and then one other thing is, like I was in town and I was lollygagging around. I really was. I felt sort of undirected, why am I spending so much time in this store? I don't usually look at all the grocery items like that, So anyway, and I was right there at that time. For the cat. That's why I was lollygagging around, I guess. See, there's the uncertainty. Like, we don't know what's happening quite. We just don't have the big picture. We just don't know exactly what's going on. And so, we're a little bit confused. Or, why is it this way? Or it's so easy, to try to think that way. But we know, we're gonna get it. We're gonna get it by and by. And also the lessons, you just embrace it, and these things come to us, and we can grow in every way. So let's take a break should we take it about 11:30, do you think? Or now, or?
You could take one now, or because we're going to end around 12, so.
Oh, okay. And then I want to make everybody feel comfortable with going to your car and doing your meter. Pollock just got a ticket right away, right in the morning, first thing. So, he didn't know. He read the sign, and you read the sign, and it's sort of like just not very clear. On Saturdays and Fridays, and they couldn't make one anyway. But anyway, and then after the break, let's think of something to share after we come back, and that would be something. One of the aspects of God, perhaps, or something in our life that we feel that we could really work on with remembrance of God's presence. Like, I'll tell you mine as an example, and when we come back we'll have many others, is working on a mantra, just to have, God's name in my mind all the time. Swami says it's really good to chant. A name of God, Jesus, or Ram, 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 or other names of God, or a quality, or like even a line from a chant. I also use I want only thee, that chant by Ananda. So think of things in your life that might be able to, pick one up that's, you can really pick it up. Not something that's quite, really the big part. Think of something that's kind of close right now to your heart or your thoughts. that you can really pick up and use. With some of our tips and tools, I have a handout also for the end that's tips and tools on what are some of the things that we can do. And after we share, we'll also go back to the tips and tools. And even you might come up with a tool you could use and share it, of how you could, be more remind yourself of these things. So, okay.
Yeah, let's take a break now.
This is the treasures brochure, and I'd like you all to know about treasures, but much more than knowing about treasures is the aspects of God are on here. So you could cut this out if you want to take two. I mean, and then every year, so you have the brochure, and you could just cut that out and have it somewhere.
I'd like to.
Yeah, I think it's.
I don't, I feel
Oh, that's right, I
like-
can do, yeah, and so,
Yeah, and I was really
okay, thank you.
hard.
And then so treasures,
And I moved in a further way
Is,
now, and I kind of said.
I think we're starting.
I was getting the community around.
okay, good.
I'm still rumbling
We're
here.
we're so excited, so much to share. I also have so much to share, it's amazing. Is Treasures Along the Path, is Swami Ananda back in 1998 started the Talk of the Month Club, because back then, internet wasn't as efficient as it is now. And so he wanted to send out talks to people so that everybody can have them in their home and just hear the, just the teachings. That's what they're for. And so all over the years, Swami, back when Ananda started, Swami Ananda did everything. He did the class, he did the Sunday services, he did every single event, and it all came, from him in the beginning. And, interesting, if you listen to these talks, he is helping people understand how they can behave, basically. What's going on now? What could be your next step? What do you need to do? And so they're so instructed that way. Canted, we're not, editing out the parts that are. I edited out the coffee spills, that's not going to be on the tape, but or the dead space in the audio or whatever. But other than that, you're getting just Swamiji back from the start of Ananda. And this is his legacy with all of the free things also on the internet that are available, the YouTube, all of the places you can look for things. It's amazing. But Treasures is unique because you can get one every month. You can get an MP3 once a month and just sign up for that. Or, like some of us, we're getting the USB drive that has all the talks on it. So anyway, that's the pitch for the Treasures Along the Path, and that's what that is all about. And it's so nice, those of you who might want to have gatherings, Ananda gatherings, you can do this. No preparation. Sit down, turn on the MP3 player, and play it. And really. And then we're doing this virtually twice a month now. The second and the fourth Monday, we're on virtually. You can just get on the list to get the link if you'd like. If you can't make it at the time of the satsang, you can get the recordings. And so what we do is we just, what I said, we sit down in the virtual room at Ananda Village and then play a talk of Swami. Sometimes we have chat, sometimes not. But people are so profoundly moved by listening. People from Malaysia, from Africa, from India, from England. They're just all listening together. It's very powerful. So just think of that as a potential venue for here or places where people can't come to the center or anybody at any time. So that's visit our website and it's great. So now let's share what you've been thinking about maybe, or if you don't have to share anything. I mean, if you don't want to, you just have that. But if you have something to share about one of the ways you're going to bring God's presence into your life, we'll welcome that. Yeah.
I've been. I'm a road dog, by the way. My name is Ron. I'm on the road all the time, like many people in LA. Maybe I should stand.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've found so blissful is putting on music. There's we have various in our boutique here music that comes from Ananda, that's chanting, and Yogananda would say chanting is half the battle. Besides the chanting, there's relaxation music, and once you've learned the melody of the relaxation music, you don't even need the words, and you just begin to sing along with these songs that are just melodic renditions. Some of them are chants as well. But I have to say I was on the road for 2 weeks in Northern California recently, selling for my gift company, Keops International. And as I was on the road every day, and I go in to see an account, and people feel the vibration of the chanting through you. As you attune yourself to a high vibrational energy, you know, there's different ways of doing it. You can turn on the radio and listen to Rush Limbaugh. Yeah, those idiot Democrats. Yeah, Obama this and Obama that. Or you can turn it on to to the rock and roll station. This is the latest set, you know. Or you can listen to the chants. And I found that it's so uplifting, and it brings such joy when I do that. And to the people I come in contact with in my business, they just immediately want to buy more.
I am second that motion because just backing up what he's saying, I've experienced the same thing in my life. I am on the phone all day calling radio stations actually, and I would make a habit before of listening to the stations that I'm promoting music to, but a couple of days I stopped doing that. Instead I would put the chants on. And I found that my luck went way up with getting people to do what I was asking them to do with regards to, and everything went a lot smoother. And I mean, it just sounds crazy, but when I meditate on a regular basis, the same thing happens where I'm just more in tune, and it's like there's less static between me and what I want to get accomplished, and it just goes smoother and less, less confusion in communication, and it just all flows easier. It seems like.
Wow.
And it's with the days that I remember to put the chants on, it's like, and I have like a lighter feeling in my heart, and I'm sure they're feeling it on their end from me, and it's just such a difference from when I'm listening to Morning Becomes Eclectic or something on the radio, and that's what gets me right there. Like I might not have time to go meditate because I've got to deal with work, but if I put those on in the background, it just keeps me there. And then even when I leave, if I have to go to a meeting or I'm in the car, I still have it in my head, and it really carries me, and I just need to do it more.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, when you put the chants on at your work, do you have headphones?
No, I'm working from home.
Oh, you're
so,
working
yeah,
from home.
so it's my cat loves it. So. It's much more, you can just see it in him too.
Headphones could be a solution too if you were at a workplace that, like my wife, she does that.
Yeah, I have the same experience with music. It's hard because sometimes I feel that although it's allowed at my workplace that people listen to music, sometimes I just feel that I know what's going on around me at my workplace. I cannot just kind of isolate myself with music. It's awful hard when I don't listen to music. And right away when I just I let this go, this kind of fear that I have to be in presence and know what's going on, and I say okay, I just listen to music. I put on the headphone. And I feel, I am not working with people, I am entering mainly numbers, and I am doing medical billing, and so I cannot feel on people's reaction that I am going through a change. But I feel on my performance that it's interesting, because normally you would think that it's distracting. No, it makes me much more faster, much more accurate with my work, and at all level and I myself feel much more uplifted when I do my job. job to listening to music. Music is a power.
It's very powerful.
Yeah, and our music.
Yeah, and then Swami
Yeah.
has one where it's just Om. He has a tambura in the background, and there's just chanting Om like that, and it's it's just a loop. And so I use that a lot, in the technical things that I have to do on the computer too, and it helps so much if you have that.
But joy comes. I mean, Ananda is not just a place; it's the joy within you, and that's what the music brings. If we're talking about the 7 attributes of God, then I would say Ananda means joy. Find that bliss, that joy inside of you through the music.
I want to add a funny story. It came to my mind. At my workplace, my old computer crashed, and I got a new computer. And I didn't really figure out how in which hole I have to put the headphone. So one morning, I found a hole. I put it there, and I started to listen the Ananda radio, just randomly, beautiful music, and this was the Lilac of May. And
That's your favorite song.
yeah, it just happened to be there. So I just didn't hear quite loud enough. I just through my headphone and put it on up. Suddenly I saw that 2 of my colleagues were standing at my desk, and of course I didn't know I didn't hear them coming. I just saw them suddenly standing there talking to me. So I pulled out the headphone, and they said, "What are you listening to? It's so beautiful." And I said, "Did you hear it?" And they said, "Oh yeah, it was really loud." So I put it in the wrong hole. That's why I couldn't hear through my headphone. I put it out. Nothing else. Well, this is the way the new computer. And they heard it.
What is Ananda Radio? Is this something we can find on the website?
If you type in www.radioananda.org, I think,
Oh, okay.
and then you click on the display button, and then all the time.
So it's Radio Ananda?
I think it's radioananda.org.
Oh, yeah,
24/7 radio.
Yeah,
Wow, that's
Ananda
great.
music.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. And Ananda.org has it at the bottom of the homepage.
Oh, I never noticed.
Yeah, go to the bottom. That's where Treasures is too. There are lots of other linking websites at the bottom there, including Ananda LA. So, anybody else? Yes.
Actually, I have a lot of stories, but I'll narrow it down. This was some years ago when we could listen to things on our computer at work before they stopped it. But I had been away from my job. I think I'd spent a month at the village doing a living discipleship or something. And the office I work at is all women that can be very catty and backstabby. And so I came back from this month at the meditation retreat. And I can feel the difference in me, but at this particular point in time, I was working between 2 women. And of course, nobody got along with anybody, whether they're on the side of the room or right next to them. And so I was feeling this going on between the 2 of them, and I was right in the middle. And I took, I don't know if it's Bharat's, but it's the gift of peace.
Yes.
And without them even knowing it, I just slipped it in the computer and I walked away.
In your computer.
Yeah, and I just went back to my room. I had a patient or something, I don't remember. And a little while later I came out and the whole energy changed. And it was like, what is that, Rose? And of course it has the beautiful pictures that go with it and everything. It was just from 1 minute to the next, that whole area just changed.
Beautiful.
That's only a few minutes long, and Bharat is he's created a whole organization called Sharing Nature, and then this is he wrote and it was graphically enhanced. The Gift of Peace. It's beautiful with music behind it, and I don't know how to get to it. I don't know where you go, but we'll find out if you want to.
You can just Google it.
Oh yeah,
I think it's online.
Online.
Can you spell it exactly?
Just Gift of Inner Peace.
Bharat, yeah. You can also look up Joseph Cornell. Joseph, and I think that's 2 L's at the end.
And how do you spell Bharat?
Bharat, but that won't, I don't know if that's on there. I don't know. It's Joseph, because he's, for the Sharing Nature.
And what is the title again?
It's Gift of Inner
Gift of
Peace.
Inner Peace.
We have a few in a basket at our center in Torrance.
Oh, okay.
Oh, good. Oh, you mean of the CDs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just one more thing. Sometimes when I'm in that energy, and it's fast-paced and you're having to hurry a lot, patients have full bladders and you got to get them in and get them out, and we're hungry and all this stuff's going on. I find myself getting caught up in that energy while I'm there at work. And of course, people associate me with yoga, so I'm being scrutinized all the time. And when I recognize that, man, I'm really off here, I'll just close when I'm finished with the patient, I'll close the door for 1 minute and I'll do Hong Sa. And I will just take Hong Sa really deep for just a brief moment in time. And when I open the door, my energy is changed. Isn't that beautiful? That's it. That's good.
So I get mine from nature. If I take a few minutes to go outside and just breathe and touch a tree, I'm all good.
That's wonderful. Because, Bara just recently, or something,
It's in the book, it's in the movie. Where she comes up and says, how do you relate sharing the nature with children to God?
Yes.
And he said, God is in nature. God
It
is
is- Yes,
God
that's
is
it.
nature.
Yeah, it is nature, yeah. And that's why we feel it. And then the other thing that I read recently was in addition to that, that's in our movie called Finding Happiness, and there's a scene where,
I have that CD.
Yay! Yeah, the DVD, great. And so, also why nature is so soothing, and I just recently experienced this in Yosemite a couple weekends ago, is because it's said the reason it's so calming is because there's a total absence of ego. Nobody's thinking, except you. Trees aren't thinking, everything, the wind isn't thinking, it's just a total zero ego. That's why we get so much.
We're having a Sharing Nature program in June. It's on our website, I forget the exact date, but Sundara, who was Bharat's sort of taking the mantle of the Sharing Nature programs, is going to be in LA.
Wonderful.
So I'm not exactly sure where we're going, but I'll go out and we do different nature exercises. It's very inspiring.
Very powerful. It can actually change your life if because it's so powerful. It's so powerful.
We had, Romany did one of those in the South Bay, and I had, and I couldn't believe what I got from just a little one of his sharing nature.
Focus is a focus of attention too. You just focus on it and you receive and you give at the same time. Yes.
What I've had to focus a lot on patience and calmness. I've had a lot of trials in my life, and doctors have told me they don't actually know how I'm still alive after what I've been through. I've been back a year from England. My wife and children are actually still there, waiting for me to find a job, which I can't find. And the last job I had in England, I was a technical editor, and there's just nothing here to. But I found that each day, if I go in the morning, I actually use the temple in Hollywood because I'm staying in a hostel now. There's no place to meditate there. So I go in the morning and I do my meditation, and that helps to center me and to draw this anxiety down, and it keeps me calm. And I go again in the afternoon, bring it down. So if I didn't have this meditation, it's just such a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
And if you can do it twice a day, it keeps you going insane.
And then the affirmations and just to keep that. This is just God's presence. In what I'm working on is Om Guru, Om Guru, Om Guru, or something that's specifically related to your quest. And then so Master said once. He said if you're looking for a job, he said just burn, just every single possibility. You just have to follow it, which you're doing. It takes a tremendous energy, and so we can all think of that and help David with that. I'd love to.
I have just one quick one. That recently, we have been taken over by a company, larger company that bought us out. So there's been a little stress in the office, but it's wonderful how a team of people can really harmonize and just say, you know what, this is going to be okay. We're all going to just be helping each other. We're all on a learning curve. But it's interesting that the head boss who came in was starting to really lose it. And I wasn't sure why. I wasn't sure. I thought, well, maybe we're not making the amount of money they thought, and it was a business deal, or, well, you know, and just actually 2 days ago, he just started screaming at me. And so I walked into his office, and he kept screaming, and it was over something very, you know, it wasn't anything to scream over. So, and I was very aware, and you know, it's like your radar goes out, and you're just like, okay, what is happening here? And I looked at him, and I just backed out of the office because he wasn't calming down, and I walked out, went back to my office, and thank God I have a picture of Paramhansa Yogananda, where if I look at my computer, there he is. And so I just looked, and I just felt, and I went, oh, okay, it's never about me, it's never about me. So I wrote a quick email, because this is an office that works really in harmony with communication on the emails. So I said, you know, Mike, it looks like we've reached an impasse in our ability to have a working relationship. That was the subject. Now, I'm head boss of the office. I'm responsible for everybody's behavior, including his, in terms of how we can function as a unit, like a beehive, right? Like you could say I was a queen bee, and I'm a queen bee, and I'll claim that because that's where I am. And so, so I said, this is not working. So I said, you can, and I thought at the moment that it really was something about him and me. So I said, look, you can dislike me. We can agree to disagree. And I kept it really short. I kept looking at Paramhansa's gaze. And I said, you know what? This isn't going to be okay, though. You cannot have outbursts. And I kept it real simple. And I just shot it to him. And he, you know, on all screens, you can see the pop-up of the Outlook email. You can see when something's coming in, and you can even see the whole thing if you want and ignore it. And it took about 10 minutes. And he came into the office and said, we need to talk. And he's done that before, but very, very, very angry. He's done that 3 times. So he would shut the door. So this time he's in my office, and he's never sat down. So he came in, shut the door. We have to talk. I said, you know, just move that little bag. And he sat down. And he told me that he's been very sick physically, just very sick. This is a young guy, very robust young guy. And he's scared to death. He's sick. Something's going on. And then I looked at him and I said, you know what? You know, I like you too much to have this continue. You need to take care of yourself. I said, you don't need 2 moms, because I met his mom. You don't need 2 moms, but you need to take care of yourself. And he didn't say thank you in that moment, but this is Paramhansa. You know, now I feel like tearful, because I wasn't tearful in the moment, but this is really the way I can live my joy and have others, you know, because we all need checks and balances, because next week I'll be doing what he's doing, and you know, I don't have outbursts like that, but you know, we all do it. It was a beautiful checks and balance. When he left the office early, I knew, I felt his complete respect and connection. Anyway, I just wanted to say thank you so much for this.
Thank you. So using the pictures, it's very powerful. In fact, Swamiji has said to spend some time in each of your meditations, you know, gazing deeply into the eyes of one of the masters, and you can find attunement and great peace with that practice.
And what's a real quick story that I want everybody else to share too is Maria McSweeney in Sacramento had someone on the phone, irate. Ananda Sacramento is awful. You guys are ruining this and that, and just on and on and on. And Maria said, just she wondered when he was going to stop. She said at one point she was sitting in her desk, a picture of Yogananda, she took the phone from her ear and went like that.
Good master here.
And it just, you know, just fizzled out. Nothing happened, you know. Anyone else sharing stories? use the things we've learned?
I thought it was really important in my life right now to remember to use the remember versus forget, and because I happen to be very forgetful, and I think I have like a skill in forgetting. And I was just it brought me like a heavy, a good heavy kind of peace to hear that that was something that I needed to work on, because I've been needing to hear that. And then just yesterday I was at church, and my Bible studies teacher told me that that I should have memorized some of the verses, and then I think you mentioned also today that that if you remember the poem
Uh-huh.
and you have it deep in your heart or in your mind, then it helps. So I'm like, I was very excited to hear that.
Yeah, there is a reason for that, for the change the consciousness, the memorization or the chant that you can keep going. Wonderful. That's just really great. That's just really great. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to share what, I'm not a very good reader. Like when I started to read the autobiography years ago, I got so caught up in all the names of all these towns and cities and all that. I said, oh, this is too deep. I've never, but years later I discovered the audiobook through a friend. So I just wanted to share that the audiobooks that are done either in Swami's voice or in Kingsley or all the books of the Bhagavad Gita are so special on audiobook. And so because you close your eyes and listen to a chapter over and over again. So I think that's been very transformative for me, as well as the meditation. I find for me meditating at night works much better. If I wake up and meditate in the morning, I get too spacey throughout the day. Before I go to bed, I'm usually with my wife or talking or doing something. So I sleep for about 5 hours and then wake up, and that's when I do my meditation. And I go back to sleep for another hour because it's not quite enough sleep for me. So I sort of I've been able to shape my days to be able to do that. So I find that
He's creative. That's very
so
creative.
for that seems
Thinking outside the box.
yeah, trying the different things.
Well, I want to make a pitch for Treasures, because I bought the whole MP3, and my husband and I listen in the morning when we're eating breakfast every day, and it's, I don't know, it just keeps your mind on the lessons.
That you can learn. Yeah. And you heard some of them are funny. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I have to do that. It should just be funny. So we're looking at stopping now or in a few minutes, or if anybody has anyone else.
Just really quickly, in the last week I finished Asha Prager's audio talk at Ananda Palo Alto on the chakras. So I've been listening to that for the last couple of weeks. And I just felt like, I learned so much from this. And she goes through the energies of the chakras and, really makes it kind of come to life in terms of how it can play out in daily life and the tensions really sometimes between, and I felt like, this is why I'm the way I am. My point is that she also gives affirmations for each chakra. You can think about what chakra needs a little help and use the affirmations for that. So that was a real find for me.
All the tips and tools, and so I will hand these out. You can just take one. One of them is the tips and tools for some of the things that Swami suggests in that talk, and then this one is the poem Samadhi for everybody. Everybody can have that. So.
Krishna, can we do another chant?
Yes, let's do another chant. And this one will be kind of, after all the, the focus on each of the qualities, the end quality, the end we're all, what we're seeking in our movie Finding Happiness and in all of the things that we do here in Ananda is the joy, like Ram said. Ananda means joy, and the deeper meaning of joy is perfect bliss, perfect union with the divine. And so let's just sing joy, 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 ever new joy as an affirmation for us all to go out with and increase our ability to feel that joy at all times. Joy, 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 ever new joy, 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 ever new joy, friend, beloved God, great gurus, saints of all religions, we bow before you all. Divine Mother, thank you for this opportunity. To tune into perfect joy. Give us always the wisdom. To turn toward that joy. Bless all those on this planet. And all throughout the universe. With this quality of joy. This perfection in love. And let's rub our hands together and send this vibration out all throughout the universe.
Thank you, Krishna, for a beautiful satsang. I want to invite you. We have joy, joy, ever new joy. We have more joy because tonight there is a kirtan at 7:30 right here at Love Light with Krishna. It's a super conscious kirtan. You know, Master talked about these chants and how chanting is half the battle, as Ram said. He spiritualized these different chants, so they can take you into a state of super consciousness. So that'll be 7:30 to 9 o'clock tonight. And then tomorrow we have our Sunday service. Every week we have a service, and that will be with Krishna and Palaka. 10 a.m. to 10:45 we have meditation and chanting and our fire ceremony and purification. And then from 11 to 12-ish is our service. So you're all most welcome and invited to that. And we also we thank you for bringing your positive energy and your joy. And if you felt inspired from the satsang, we'll pass a basket around, and any donations are greatly appreciated. Everything we do is on a donation basis with Ananda LA, and so your generosity helps us reach other souls. So thank you very much again, Krishna, and everyone.